Hello everyone, this is Seema Khaneja, and I just recorded the first video, which was to give you an introduction to this new group teleconference call and a little background about A Course in Miracles, how it came to be, and some personal information, how I had found it, and all of that. And then I felt like perhaps some of you are wondering, well, what is A Course in Miracles? So A Course in Miracles is actually, like I said, there's three basic parts. So there's a text, and then there is a workbook, and the workbook is a daily lesson. So there are 365 lessons, one for each day. And then there's something called a manual for teachers. There's also a supplementary material that is the Song of Prayer and a psychotherapy pamphlet. But really, and they're all, amazingly useful. But what we're going to really begin with is doing the lessons, on our own, starting January 1st. And the reason I think the Course in Miracles could really be helpful, so I guess that's what I want to answer, is why would someone want to do this? What would be the benefits? And in my own experience, having a background of, being raised in India, and then being trained as a physician and being exposed to Eastern spiritual tradition, meditation, yoga, all of that, chanting, being a member of the local Zen center, all of that. So I had all of that background when I came to A Course in Miracles. And I think what was helpful to me is that our minds need a systematic way to be trained. And that's what A Course in Miracles provides. So it doesn't take anything away from you. And that's why, for me, it has, it's true that it comes from, this divine, this inspired source from Jesus. And so there is a lot of Christian theology, theological terms, and so forth. However, to me, it's not about that, and to leave it there would really limit it. It's really about helping us manage our mind to a state of inner peace, to the experience of inner peace. And it came to these two scribes who were psychologists. So the Course does a beautiful job of using the ideas of defenses, psychological defenses, emotional patterns, and using all of those ideas, but help us to see that there are barriers and how to transcend them. And so, every day there's a lesson. The first part is more like we have ideas of how things are in the world, and we don't realize that those are the very things, those ideas are the very concepts that are standing in the way of our peace of mind. So we can have a meditation practice, we could have a chanting practice, and that's wonderful. I've done all of those things. They continue to be part of my practice, at different times to different degrees. But we do that, and then we step into our day, and we sort of kind of go back again. We say we've lost our peace, or this thing triggered us, or that thing triggered us. And so the Course in Miracles helps us to practice this really ultra mindfulness. And while it's mindfulness, I think it goes a step beyond, because it teaches about forgiveness. And the forgiveness that I've come to see it as is a radical forgiveness. This forgiveness is really allowing us kind of to see the false as false and the truth as the truth. Now, what do I mean by that? So after a while, after we've been practicing it, we start to understand that what we're seeing outside is really projections of what's going on inside. And that's a psychological term, that when we project something that's really, a conflict within us, but onto something else. Well, the Course says that most of our perception, if not all of it, is all projection. So everything we think we're seeing, everything we think we understand, all needs to be questioned. And so in a systematic way, it asks us to look at our ideas, to look at our beliefs, to see whatever is happening outside and bring it inside so we can see what are the beliefs that this represents, and then to make an active choice. Do we want fear? Do we want love? Do we want to be right about a situation? Do we want peace of mind? Do we want forgiveness, or do we want to hold on to something? So it really requires a self-honesty, a self-exploration, of that small self, so that the true self, which is self with a capital S, can be revealed. And the Course even says that this idea of this love, this agape love, love with a capital L, it's not something that can be taught. It has to be experienced. But what doing this training can do is help us remove those blocks. And so I found that A Course in Miracles just strengthened whatever was helpful in my life, like whatever I had been doing that was really helping me, and then really look at the things that were not helpful and let them go. And so, it was an unsettling process. At times it was, very challenging, but if I stayed with it, and this is with the support of the course community of teachers and other students, and, through a lot of discussions and honest sharing, if I stayed with it, then I would come out on the other side with greater peace of mind, greater joy. And the course allowed me to use everything in my life for healing. So I didn't have to isolate myself. You don't have to go off, on some kind of a retreat. You don't have to leave anyone. Things might change, certain relationships did fall away in my life. New things came in. But I could start to see that everything that was happening was in my best interest, that it was all there to help me, and that I started to have a different way of relating to, the significant people in my life. I started to have a different relationship with my past experiences. I would just remember things in a different way. And in the end, it all really led to this greater clarity, this desire to live in a more inspired way. I think the course was instrumental in helping me make some of the changes I did in my professional life. So the point being that if you're looking for a way to train your mind, and if you're looking a way to have kind of this devotion, so it's not just a training of your mind that you do on your own, but there's this beautiful capacity of devotion that you devote yourself to this training, and then it's something that you share so that your relationships with others are so much more richer, and you really are able to see your loved ones in a place of love. You're able to see yourself in a place of love, and when you're not, you're able to understand how you can practice forgiveness. And you're able to, I really want to also say, really connect with that place of inner wisdom. So the Course does all of those things. And I'm hoping that in this group that we do, to share from the ideas of quantum physics, the ideas of neuroplasticity, even psychological theories, because really all of those support each other. And so for me, the Course in Miracles, it's really kind of like my manual for healing, healing in a way that's much deeper than at the level of the body, even at the level of the psychology of the mind. And if you'll remember, the Course in Miracles came to these two psychologists, and so they could describe the difficulties that they felt in terms of interpersonal conflict and the ego mind and all of that, but that wasn't healing. So all the descriptions in the world of what depression is, what anxiety is, what disease is, that's not going to heal. So there's got to be a way to, be lifted above that and step out of it and find the healing. And that healing has to come from a place that's already whole. Because if that place is not whole, then it's like the blind leading the blind. It really can't happen. And for me, A Course in Miracles, like on my own journey of searching for answers about healing, it was the beautiful answer, because it showed me that there is a very different way to look at healing, and that way really works, you know. So all of those things can be helpful with the practice of the course. How to understand healing, how to understand the mind, how to manage the mind, how to practice forgiveness, how to cultivate more gratitude, how to have a joyful experience in life, how to heal your interpersonal relationships, how to connect with your inner guide. And you know, I can go on and on. There's so much, and it's all in this one book. So I invite you to consider, take a look, and again, if you have questions, feel free to reach out. So that's it, and I look forward to hearing from you. Love and blessings.